Today I want to talk about default white male and the type of speaking roles that females have in films and how there's just this line, this thing that is just not happening in Hollywood and also many times in independent films. Before I get to that, here's like a little peek behind the scenes. I've been working in the studio, that's why I missed Monday's episode. Monday's like, oops, sorry. Guys have to ask me more questions, so I have stuff to answer on my A4Q show. And then hopefully I'll get back to posting twice a week like I've challenged myself to do. All right, so let's look at the issues. Speaking parts for women, it's just sad to see how one-sided we often write female parts. Women are much more like nuanced and diverse than just being a pretty face that hangs on the shoulders of a man. I mean, really? I don't understand how this is still a problem. Women aren't getting paid the same amount. They're not given roles that are as well written and powerful as the male roles. So what can we do? I know I can't really change how Hollywood's operating other than being an inspiration, because maybe somebody watches this and says, hey, I'm in Hollywood. I can make a little difference here. So we know this is a problem. Hollywood is getting better, thankfully. But what about us? What about us content creators and micro-budget filmmakers? What can we do? Well, one, be aware that there is a problem and don't accept it. Don't just say, well, that's the way it is. Nothing I can do about it. There is something you can do about it. Say, I don't accept that anymore. When you're involved in a film, say, hey, challenge people. Like, say, is that really the person that we need in the part? What if we change this to female? What if, especially if you're in there early and you're not just disturbing everything, don't show up on the day of the shoot and start going, well, this is just a bunch of white dudes. That's not the most helpful time to like throw out a little more creative idea of how to cast this thing. Another thing that you can do besides just being aware and putting it out there that this is an issue is writing. If you write your own stories, and I highly encourage you to come up with stories, to tell stories, and it always helps whenever you tell a story, even verbally to someone, it helps really solidify how to tell a story. But if you write the characters. Don't just leave it blank. Sometimes it messes with the flow when you're writing it to be specific. But we can leave a little document at the end that kind of talks about who these characters are in a little more depth. There's a lot of different ways we can do this. But what I've been doing is I took some old stories that I had in my head or I had written already, and I went back and looked at them again. I looked at them with fresh eyes, with this new awareness, and I really focused on who these characters could be. What is it that, who might best fit in that position? And, I took care not to do cliche things, but to just put a character in there and embody that character and follow them through the story and see how it worked out. And to be honest, it really helped improve the writing. When I had a concrete picture of who this person was, I wrote their character with much more specificity. And I think it makes my writing better. So just get in your head who these characters are, test people out in those roles. Doesn't mean that your character, you should change all your male characters to women. One of the main, like a feature film that I'm writing, is I tried the main character as a female. Just didn't work. It didn't work out. Of course, the whole premise is it's a father-son dysfunctional relationship. Tried to make it a mother-daughter, but it didn't work out. So that story is about a father-son dysfunction, something I know a little bit about, unfortunately. But some other ones, there's a Walking Dead like web series that I have been like milling about for a while, that I made the main character a female, ran it through, didn't quite work. It didn't work in the way I wanted. And then I did some other stuff and I changed some things around, and the story is so much better now. It is so much it's so much more interesting to watch these characters, and the way it ends is kind of awesome. So do it. I mean, just go out there, think about your stories, challenge who is it that really fits in these roles. If you're a casting director, be diverse. Just throw some like crazy stuff out there and see what sticks. That's my advice. That's something that we have control of. I love you all, and I hope to continue this conversation in the comments.